The Price of Generosity. Part 1. The Letter That Changed Everything. The envelope was thick, cream-colored, expensive. The kind of paper that whispered wealth before you even opened it. I stared at it across my kitchen table, my coffee growing cold in my hands. My husband, David, stood behind me, his hand resting on my shoulder. Our 3 kids were upstairs getting ready for school, their morning chaos a distant rumble of footsteps and arguments over bathroom time. "Are you going to open it?" David asked quietly. I'd been asking myself that same question for the past 10 minutes. The return address was from Sterling and Associates, the law firm that had been handling my patent applications for the past 8 years. I knew what this letter meant. After years of development, countless prototypes, rejected proposals, and sleepless nights, my invention had finally sold. My hands trembled slightly as I slid my finger under the seal. The number on the first page made my vision blur. $12 million. Not 12,000. Not 1,200,000. 12 million. After taxes, legal fees, and the complex payment structure detailed in the following pages, I would receive approximately $8.3 million over the next 3 years, with the bulk of it, $6 million, arriving within the next 30 days. "David," I whispered. "David, look at this." He leaned over my shoulder and went completely still. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then he let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob, and pulled me into a hug so tight I could barely breathe. "You did it," he kept saying. "Oh my God, Natalie, you actually did it." I had done it. After working as a biomedical engineer for 15 years, after spending every spare moment in our basement workshop, after maxing out credit cards and taking out a second mortgage to fund prototypes, my medical device, a revolutionary glucose monitoring system, had been purchased by one of the largest medical technology companies in the world. We sat at that kitchen table for another hour, just holding the letter, trying to make it feel real. Our oldest daughter, Emma, eventually came downstairs and found us there, still in our pajamas, grinning like idiots. "Mom? Dad, are you okay?" "We're better than okay, sweetheart," David said. "Your mom just changed our lives." Part 2. The Plan. We didn't tell anyone right away. Not my brother, Cameron. Not David's 3 siblings. Not our parents. We needed time to think, to plan, to make sure we didn't squander this gift. David was a high school teacher. His salary was steady but modest. We'd been living paycheck to paycheck for years, even with my engineering job. This money, this life-changing amount of money, needed to be handled carefully. We hired a financial advisor. We consulted with accountants. We made lists and crossed things off and made new lists. And slowly, over the course of 6 months, we built a plan. First, ourselves. We paid off our mortgage, the one we'd taken out on our modest 3-bedroom house 16 years ago, the one that had felt like a mountain we'd never climb. Gone. Just like that. I bought a new car. Nothing extravagant. A reliable hybrid that would last me 15 years. David got one too, replacing the 12-year-old sedan that had been held together with duct tape and prayers. We set up college funds for our 3 kids, Emma, 16, Lucas, 14, and Sophie, 11. Each fund contained enough for 5 years of tuition, room, and board at any state university. If they chose somewhere cheaper, or got scholarships, or finished early, the leftover money could be used as a down payment on their first home. Then we looked at our family. David had 3 siblings, his older brother James, and 2 younger sisters, Rachel and Victoria. James had 2 kids. Rachel had 3. Victoria, the youngest, had never married and had no children. My side was smaller, just my younger brother Cameron and his twin daughters. We decided that every niece and nephew would get the same college fund setup as our own children. Same amount, same rules, same opportunities. Fair across the board. For the siblings themselves, we looked at their situations individually. James and his wife owned a home, but still had a substantial mortgage. We paid off 60% of it, enough to significantly reduce their monthly payments without completely eliminating their sense of ownership. Rachel and her husband rented a large apartment in the city. We set aside money to cover a year of their rent, giving them breathing room to save. Victoria was finishing her doctorate. We paid off her student loans, all $60,000 of them. Cameron and his wife had just bought a house. We handled half their mortgage, same as we'd done for James. For our parents and David's parents, we planned trips. My parents had always dreamed of seeing Ireland. David's parents wanted to visit his mother's family in Greece. We made both happen, covering flights, hotels, guided tours, everything. Then came the final touch, a family vacation. All of us, both extended families. We rented a lakeside resort for a week, covered all the costs, and spent 7 days just being together. Swimming, hiking, playing board games, cooking huge meals, laughing until our sides hurt. It was perfect. Everyone was grateful, humble, overwhelmed by the generosity. There were tears and hugs and countless thank yous. Everyone except Victoria. Part 3. The Golden Child. David's youngest sister had always been different. Not in a bad way, necessarily. Just more dramatic, more emotional, more needy. She was the baby of the family, born when David's mother was 42. A surprise pregnancy that had turned Victoria into the center of attention from day one. Even now, at 34, she had a way of making every conversation orbit around her needs, her feelings, her problems. During the family vacation, I'd noticed her keeping score, counting who got what, measuring, calculating. When we'd announced the college funds for all the nieces and nephews, her face had fallen slightly. She had no children, so that gift didn't extend to her in the same way. The student loan payoff had helped. She'd been appropriately grateful, tearful even. But I'd seen something else in her eyes. Something hungry. After the vacation, she started making comments. Little things at first. It must be nice to just write checks like that. I wish I could afford to be so generous. Some people have all the luck. They were always said with a smile, always with a laugh to soften the edge. But David heard it. His parents heard it. And I definitely heard it. 6 months after we'd paid off her student loans, Victoria called me. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was in my home office, reviewing some consulting work I'd taken on. I still worked part-time, more to keep my mind active than for the money. Natalie. Hi. Her voice was bright, almost aggressive in its cheerfulness. How are you? How are the kids? We exchanged pleasantries. She told me about her new job as a professor at a local university. I told her about Sophie's soccer tournament. Then there was a pause, a shift in her tone. So, I wanted to run something by you. Here it comes, I thought. David's birthday is coming up in a few months, as you know. I was thinking it would be amazing to do something really special for him. Like, really special. Okay, I said carefully. I found this incredible resort. It's in Costa Rica. 5-star, all-inclusive, right on the beach. They have this package for families, up to 8 people. Activities for kids, spa treatments, gourmet dining, the whole luxury experience. My stomach tightened. That sounds nice. It is. I already looked into it. And I was thinking, since you've been so generous with everyone else, and since it's David's birthday, maybe this could be your gift to him? To us? The whole family could go. Me, James and his family, Rachel and her crew. Just a week of paradise, you know? As a family. I set down my pen. Victoria, how much does this package cost? Oh, it's not that bad. I mean, for what you get, it's actually a great deal. How much? A pause. Then, too casually, $42,000. But that's for 8 people, so if you break it down per person. Victoria. I kept my voice level. You're asking me to spend $42,000 on a vacation. Well, it's for David. For his birthday. And for the family. A vacation you would be going on. That I would be paying for. Another pause, longer this time. When she spoke again, her voice had an edge. I mean, you have the money. You paid for that lake resort last year. You paid off everyone's mortgages and loans. This is just one more thing. For family. I closed my eyes. Took a breath. Chose my words carefully. Victoria, I appreciate that you want to do something nice for David's birthday. But no, I'm not going to pay $42,000 for a vacation. Why not? Her voice rose, the sweetness evaporating. You literally have millions. You won't even miss it. That's not the point. Then what is the point? You help everyone else, but not me? I'm family too, Natalie. Or does that not matter because I don't have kids? Is that it? Because I'm not a mom, I don't get the same treatment. You got $60,000 in student loans paid off, I said, my own voice hardening. That's more than most people see in years of work. And James got his mortgage paid. And Rachel got rent money. And Cameron got mortgage help. Everyone got something that matched their situation. I got debt relief. That's fair. But it's not enough, right? It's never enough with you, Victoria. The line went silent. I could hear her breathing, fast and shallow. I can't believe you're being like this, she finally said. After everything we've done for you. What have you done for me? We welcomed you into this family. We treated you like a sister. And this is how you repay us. I felt something cold settle into my chest. Victoria, I'm going to say this once, clearly. I am not paying for a $42,000 vacation. I am not your personal ATM. And if you can't accept that, then we're going to have a serious problem. She hung up on me. Part 4, the birthday party. 3 weeks later, David's birthday arrived. We'd planned a simple backyard barbecue. Family and close friends, nothing fancy. David had specifically requested no fuss, and I'd been happy to oblige. Victoria showed up 2 hours late, just as we were bringing out the cake. She was dressed like she was going to a gala, designer dress, expensive heels, perfect makeup. Everyone else was in jeans and t-shirts. She made a grand entrance, apologizing loudly for her tardiness, kissing David on the cheek, and handing him an envelope. Open it, she insisted, practically bouncing. David, ever gracious, opened it in front of everyone. Inside was a printed itinerary for the Costa Rica resort. 8 people, 7 nights, all-inclusive luxury. Surprise. Victoria squealed. I booked it. We're all going. Family vacation. David's face went pale. He looked at the dates, 3 months away, then at me. I kept my expression neutral. Victoria, David said carefully. This is incredibly generous, but... Oh, I didn't pay for it, she laughed, waving her hand. Natalie is. It's her gift to you. To us. The entire backyard went silent. 20 people, all staring at me. No, I said clearly. I'm not. Victoria's smile didn't waver, but her eyes went hard. What? I'm not paying for that vacation, Victoria. We discussed this 3 weeks ago. I told you no. But it's already booked. Then you should probably cancel it before you're charged. Her face flushed red. You can't be serious. You have the money. What's $40,000 to you? It's my money, I said calmly. That I earned. That I get to decide how to spend. We're family. Her voice was rising, getting shrill. Several of the kids were staring now, uncomfortable. Family helps family. I have helped, I said. I paid off your student loans. I paid portions of everyone's mortgages and rent. I set up college funds for 7 kids. I took everyone on a week-long vacation last year that I paid for entirely. I have helped plenty. But not enough, apparently. Victoria was fully yelling now. Not enough for you. You sit there in your paid-off house, with your perfect life, with your millions in the bank, and you can't spare $40,000 for your husband's birthday? David stood up. Victoria, that's enough. No. She whirled on him. Don't you see what she's doing? She's controlling all of us with her money. She doles it out when she feels like it. Makes us beg, makes us grateful. She loves the power. That's not true, I said, but my voice was shaking now. Isn't it? You pick and choose who gets what. You decide who deserves help. You play God with your money while the rest of us have to scrape by. Scrape by? I stood up too, anger finally breaking through my calm. You make $70,000 a year as a professor. You have no debt. You rent a nice apartment. You are not scraping by, Victoria. Compared to you, I am. That's not my problem. The words hung in the air. Victoria's eyes filled with tears, whether real or performative, I couldn't tell. I can't believe you, she whispered. I can't believe you would do this to me. To us. She looked around at the other family members, most of whom were studying their plates. You all see this, right? You see how she treats me. David's mother, Patricia, cleared her throat. She was a gentle woman, soft-spoken, but when she spoke, everyone listened. Victoria, honey, I think you should go home. Victoria's mouth fell open. Mom, you've made a scene at your brother's birthday party. You've put Natalie in an impossible position, and you're acting entitled to money that isn't yours. Patricia's voice was kind but firm. Go home. Cool off. We'll talk later. For a moment, I thought Victoria might argue, but then she grabbed her purse, shot me a look of pure venom, and stormed out. Her heels clicked angrily across the driveway. Her car door slammed. The engine roared to life. And then she was gone. The party continued, but the mood was ruined. People left early, making excuses about early mornings and babysitters. By 8 p.m., it was just David and me, cleaning up in silence. I'm sorry, he finally said. For what? You didn't do anything wrong. She's my sister. My responsibility. I set down the trash bag I was holding and went to him. David, listen to me. You are not responsible for your sister's behavior. She's a 34-year-old woman who made a choice to be cruel and entitled. That's on her, not you. He pulled me close. I wish money hadn't changed things. Money didn't change things, I said softly. It just revealed what was already there. Part 5. The phone calls. Over the next month, the phone call started. First, it was David's Aunt Eleanor, his mother's sister, someone we saw maybe twice a year at holiday gatherings. She called on a Wednesday evening, her voice syrupy sweet. "Natalie, dear, I heard the most wonderful things about what you've done for the family. College funds, mortgage help. So generous." "Thank you," I said warily. "I was wondering, my grandson Tyler is starting to look at colleges next year. He's such a bright boy. And I thought, well, if you're setting up funds for the other kids in the family." "Eleanor, Tyler isn't a direct niece or nephew. The funds were only for our siblings' children." "Oh, but we're family too. Tyler calls David Uncle David." "Eleanor, I'm sorry, but the answer is no." The sweetness evaporated. "I see. So some family members are more important than others." "That's not what I said." She hung up. Then came David's cousin Marcus. He needed a loan for a business venture. $20,000. "Just a loan," he insisted. "I'll pay it back." I referred him to a bank. David's great-uncle called about his grandson's medical bills. David's second cousin wanted help with a down payment. One of Patricia's old friends, someone I'd met exactly twice, called asking if I could fund a renovation on her kitchen. No, 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 no. With each call, I felt more like an ATM than a person. They weren't calling to ask how I was, or how my kids were doing, or to congratulate me on my invention's success. They were calling because they saw dollar signs. And through it all, Victoria was silent. No calls, no texts, no apologies. But I heard about her. Oh, I heard plenty. She was talking to everyone, telling anyone who would listen that I was selfish, that I'd changed, that money had corrupted me. She painted herself as the victim, the poor sister-in-law who'd been cast aside, denied a simple birthday gift for her beloved brother. The story got twisted in the retelling. In some versions, I'd promised her the vacation, then cruelly backed out. In others, I'd mocked her for not being wealthy. In one particularly creative iteration, I'd apparently told her she was worthless because she didn't have children. None of it was true, but truth didn't matter when the narrative was this good. Part 6. The confrontation. It all came to a head on a Saturday in October. I came home from grocery shopping to find 12 cars parked on my street. 12. In a quiet suburban neighborhood where you rarely saw more than 2 or 3 visitors at any house. My stomach dropped. I pulled into my driveway and sat there for a moment, watching. Through my front window, I could see people moving around. In my house, I grabbed my phone and dialed David. "Where are you?" I asked when he picked up. "Still at the hardware store." "What?" "There are people in our house." "What? Who?" "I don't know yet. But there are at least a dozen cars outside." "I'm coming home. Don't go in alone." But I was already out of the car, already walking toward my front door, already pushing it open. The scene that greeted me was surreal. My living room was packed with people. David's extended family, aunts, uncles, cousins I barely knew. They were sitting on my furniture, drinking from my glasses, helping themselves to snacks from my kitchen. Victoria stood in the center of it all, like a queen holding court. "Oh, good," she said when she saw me. "You're here. We need to talk. Get out of my house. Now, Natalie, let's be reasonable. Get out of my house." Victoria's smile was cold. "We're family. We're allowed to be here." "Who let you in?" "Emma did. Sweet girl. So helpful." Victoria's eyes gleamed. "We've been explaining the situation to her. About how you've been hoarding money while family members struggle." My vision went red. "You talked to my daughter? You came into my home and manipulated my 16-year-old daughter." "We didn't manipulate anyone." One of the uncles, Harold, I think, spoke up. "We just explained that family takes care of family. And we're here to make sure you understand that," added an aunt whose name I'd never bothered learning. I looked around the room, counted heads. 13 people. 13 people who'd invaded my home, violated my space, cornered my child. I pulled out my phone and dialed 911. "What are you doing?" Victoria demanded. "Calling the police. You're trespassing. We're family. You're criminals." I spoke into the phone when the operator answered. "Hi. Yes, I need police at 2847 Maple Street." There are 13 people who've broken into my home and are refusing to leave. The room erupted in shouts. People rushed at me, yelling, trying to grab my phone. Someone, I didn't see who, shoved me hard. I stumbled backward, hit the wall, but kept the phone to my ear. The situation is escalating. I told the operator, my voice surprisingly calm. They're getting aggressive. Please hurry. That's when Victoria made her mistake. She stepped forward, her face twisted with rage, and slapped me across the face. The room went dead silent. My cheek stung. My ear rang. But I didn't move. I just stared at her, my phone still pressed to my other ear, the operator asking if I was okay. Did you just assault me? I asked quietly. Victoria's eyes widened as she realized what she'd done. You made me. You just assaulted me in my own home, in front of 13 witnesses, while I was on the phone with 911. The color drained from her face. Ma'am, the operator's voice came through. Are you injured? I was just struck across the face by one of the intruders, I said, still looking directly at Victoria. I'm okay, but I'd like to press charges. The sound of sirens was already growing in the distance. People started moving toward the door. Panic was setting in. Harold tried to grab his wife's hand and make a run for it, but I stepped in front of the exit. Nobody leaves, I said. You wanted to be here? You're staying until the police arrive. You can't keep us here, one of the cousins shouted. Watch me. David's car screeched into the driveway, just as the first police cruiser pulled up. He burst through the door, took in the scene. Me backed against the wall, my face red where I'd been hit. 13 family members trying to scatter like roaches when the light comes on. And his expression went from confused to furious in a heartbeat. What the hell is going on? Part 7. The Aftermath. Police officers took statements for 2 hours. My home security cameras, something I'd installed 6 months ago, partly for safety and partly on my accountant's advice for insurance purposes, had recorded everything. Every moment of the break-in, every word spoken, every shove, and yes, Victoria's slap. 7 people were cited for trespassing. Victoria was arrested for assault. The others were let go with warnings, but their names went into the report. Emma, my 16-year-old, sat on the stairs and sobbed. She hadn't understood what was happening when Victoria and the others showed up. They'd told her it was a surprise family gathering, that they'd coordinated with me. She'd let them in because she trusted them. I'm so sorry, Mom, she kept saying. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault, baby. I told her, holding her close. They lied to you. They manipulated you. That's on them, not you. But the guilt in her eyes broke my heart. David's parents arrived an hour after the police left. Patricia was crying. David's father, Thomas, looked like he'd aged 10 years. I don't know what to say, Patricia whispered. I don't know how to apologize for this. You didn't do anything wrong, David told her. She's my daughter. How did I raise someone who could do this? We sat together in the living room, the same living room that had been full of angry, entitled family members just hours before, and talked for a long time. About money, about family, about the poison that greed becomes when it takes root. I knew Victoria was struggling, Patricia said. Not financially. She's always been fine financially. But emotionally. She's always needed to be the center of attention, to be special. And when you came into money, and she wasn't the special one anymore. She trailed off, wiping her eyes. I should have seen this coming. No one could have predicted this, I said. But even as I said it, I wondered if that was true. The signs had been there. The comments. The entitlement. The slow escalation. Over the next few days, the story spread through the family like wildfire. Those who hadn't been involved in the break-in were horrified. Apologies came in, genuine ones, from people who were embarrassed and ashamed of what their relatives had done. But there were also those who doubled down, who insisted Victoria had been pushed to her breaking point, who argued that I should have just given her the money, that this all could have been avoided if I'd been more generous. One cousin actually said to me, "You made her do this. If you'd just been reasonable, none of this would have happened." I blocked that cousin's number. Victoria was charged with simple assault. She pleaded guilty, received a fine, and was ordered to stay away from me for a year. No jail time, but a record. A permanent mark on her life because she couldn't control her anger over money that wasn't hers. David's relationship with his sister was over. He tried, he tried, to talk to her, to understand, to find some path forward. But she refused to take responsibility. In her mind, she was the victim. I was the villain, and nothing would convince her otherwise. I'm done, David finally said, after the fifth attempt to reach out was met with vitriol and blame. I can't fix this. I can't fix her. It was heartbreaking to watch. He loved his sister, but he loved his wife more, and he loved himself enough to know when to walk away. Part 8. The Hard Questions. 6 months later, I sat in my home office, staring at a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet listed every member of the extended family who had kids. Next to each name was a notation: college fund set up, or no college fund. The 7 kids who'd already received funds were doing well. 2 were in college, using the money as intended. The others were still in high school, but knowing the money was there had changed their perspective on the future. They were working harder, planning more carefully, thinking about their options. But what about the others? The cousins' kids, the second cousins, the children of people who'd participated in the break-in, and the children of people who hadn't. Did they deserve to be punished because their parents were greedy? It was the question that kept me up at night. You don't owe them anything, David said, when I brought it up. I know, but the kids didn't do anything wrong. Neither did you. But they're children. They don't have control over their parents' behavior. David sat down across from me, taking my hands in his. Nat, listen to me. You have done more than most people would ever dream of doing. You've been generous beyond reason. And the result was that people you barely know broke into our home and assaulted you. So if you want to set up more college funds, I'll support you. But if you don't, that's okay too. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. I looked at the spreadsheet again. 16 more kids. $800,000 per child. If I matched what I'd done for our nieces and nephews, that was $12.8 million. More than I'd earned from the patent. More than we had. I can't do what I did before, I said slowly. I can't set up the same level of funding. We don't have enough. Then don't. But I could do something smaller. $20,000 per kid. Enough for community college, or a trade school, or a down payment on a car. At what cost? David asked gently. Not financial cost. Emotional cost. Will doing this make those families respect you? Or will it make them think they can demand more? I closed the laptop. I need to think about it. Part 9. The Decision. 3 weeks later, I made my choice. I set up a small educational fund, not specifically for any individual child, but as a general fund that could be applied for. Any family member's child could apply, but they had to write an essay explaining their educational goals and how they planned to use the money. A committee of 3 trusted family members, David's mother, my brother Cameron, and David's brother James, would review applications and distribute funds based on merit and need. The fund had $500,000 in it. Not enough to pay for everyone's full education, but enough to help many kids get started. I also made a public statement, posted to the family Facebook group that had become the center of so much drama. To my extended family. Over the past 2 years, I've been fortunate enough to come into significant money through my work. I've tried to use that money to help the people I love. I've paid off mortgages, covered rent, eliminated student loans, set up college funds, and created opportunities that I hope have made your lives easier. But somewhere along the way, my generosity became an expectation. My success became something I owed you. And when I said no, when I set boundaries about what I was and wasn't willing to pay for, I was treated as selfish, cruel, and controlling. I want to be clear. I am not a bank. I am not an ATM. I am a person who worked incredibly hard to create something valuable, and who has chosen to share the rewards of that work with the people I care about. But my generosity has limits, and those limits deserve to be respected. I've created an educational fund that family members can apply to for help with college, trade school, or other educational expenses. The fund is managed by people I trust, and applications will be reviewed fairly. This is the last large financial gift I will be giving to the extended family. If you need genuine, emergency help in the future, I'm still willing to talk, but only through proper legal channels, with contracts and clear expectations. I will not be emotionally manipulated, guilt-tripped, or cornered into giving away money. To those who have been genuinely grateful for what I've shared, thank you. Your grace and appreciation have meant everything. To those who feel entitled to my money, I hope you find peace with the fact that you're not going to get more. And I hope you think carefully about why you believe someone else's success obligates them to fund your life. I love this family, but I love my own peace of mind, my safety, and my immediate family more. Best wishes, Natalie. The post got 43 comments. Half were supportive. A quarter were angry. The rest were people clearly trying to calculate whether they could still apply for money from the educational fund. I turned off notifications and stepped away from Facebook entirely. Epilogue, 2 years later. Victoria got married. I heard about it through Patricia, who called to let us know, even though we hadn't been invited. I don't expect you to send a gift, Patricia said carefully. I just thought you should know. How is she? I asked. Because despite everything, I did wonder. Better, I think. She's in therapy. She and her husband are seeing a counselor together. She's starting to understand some things. That's good. She asked me to tell you. Patricia paused. She asked me to tell you that she's sorry. She knows that doesn't fix anything, but she wanted me to pass that along. I thought about it for a long time after we hung up. An apology delivered through a third party, 2 years late, after legal action and family destruction. Was it enough? No, but it was something. Our kids were doing well. Emma was in her freshman year of college, studying environmental science. Lucas was applying to schools, his college fund making options possible that would have been dreams before. Sophie was thriving in middle school, with no memory of the worst of the family drama. David and I took our first real vacation in years, just the two of us, to a small bed and breakfast in Vermont. No luxury resort. No all-inclusive package. Just quiet mornings, long walks, and the kind of peace that money can't buy. On our last evening there, sitting on the porch and watching the sun set over the mountains, David asked me if I regretted any of it. The money? The generosity? All of it. I thought about the question carefully. I regret that people showed me who they really were. I finally said. I regret that money became more important than relationships. I regret that my children saw family members attack me in our own home. But do you regret being generous? No, I said. I don't. Because the people who were genuinely grateful, the ones who used the money to build better lives, who said thank you and meant it, who never asked for more, they deserve that help. And I'm glad I could give it to them. Even knowing how it would turn out with Victoria and the others. Even then, I said, because the alternative was to hoard it, to be stingy and suspicious from the start. And that's not who I want to be. David squeezed my hand. You're a better person than most. I'm just a person, I said, who got lucky, who worked hard, and who learned that sometimes the price of generosity is higher than you expect to pay. The sun dipped below the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink and deep purple. In the distance, a loon called across the water. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt something close to peace. Money had changed my life, but it hadn't changed who I was. And in the end, that was the only thing that really mattered.